This segment is sponsored by Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. This week is Economic Development Week in Maryland, which places a spotlight on how the dedicated work of economic developers throughout Maryland help businesses and communities thrive. I recently spoke with economic development officials from Montgomery County, along with the CEO of DECA Biosciences, a company developing precision medicine tests to pair cancer or inflammatory disease patients with a diet that is ideal for them. We also took a quick tour of their beautiful new facility in Germantown. Bill, we're here in beautiful Montgomery County. Tell us why this is such a great place to live, to play, and to do business.
Okay, you've got over 1 million people here. You've got 150 languages that are spoken in the school system here, so it's the most diverse county in the country. We've got over 30,000 businesses that are here. We've got a diversity of things to do, arts, more parks and green space than anywhere you're going to find in the DMV, and that's just the start. But from a business perspective, we've got all kinds of businesses, large and small.
So thriving for sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Tell us about the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation.
Sure. We're a public-private partnership that really represents the county to go after a lot of key industries. Our key industries include life sciences, technology, hospitality, corporate headquarters, nonprofits. Those are the ones where we see the best opportunity for us to have an impact to create a very healthy economy around everything else that's here.
What about some of the county partnerships?
We've got many. Of course, we work very closely with the county executive's office and the county council, but there's a special unique group called the Montgomery County Business Center, and they spend most of their time with some of the smaller businesses across the county, the ones that we cannot concentrate on. And they've got a lot of services. They work directly with different agencies. We're working with them every day. They're working with us, sending companies back and forth. And they've got a special program, by the way. They've got an incubator network. There are actually 3 in the county. In fact, one is not too far from here. It's the Germantown Innovation Center. And that's where DECA Biosciences really started to bloom.
Speaking of, here we are at DECA Biosciences, and they were a recent participant, like you just said. Tell us more about the incubator program.
Well, the great thing about an incubator program, you've got lots of startups who really need space, and sometimes they need wet lab space or other specialties, but they also want to be with other companies that are growing like they are. So you create this sort of network of businesses that are trying to launch themselves, trying to grow.
And tell us about Economic Development Week.
That's an opportunity for people all over the region to celebrate business success and to celebrate what economic development is all about, which is creating jobs and creating a very healthy economy.
So Brad, Montgomery County is the anchor of the biohealth capital region. Why is that, and why is that so significant?
Montgomery County really is the home of life sciences here in the region. The biohealth capital region is the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. And the vast majority of those companies, about 65 to 70% of them, are anchored right here in Montgomery County. So really in Montgomery County, we focus on biologic drugs, so large molecules. There's a lot of work on new therapies like cell and gene therapies, which are used to treat cancers and other diseases that heretofore have had no treatments for them. We have amazing companies like DECA, which are hopefully designing and developing cancer therapies that may someday save someone you love and care about. In addition to that, we have companies like Novavax here who've developed the first protein-based vaccine for COVID. We have companies like MaxCyte, which make foundational technology to allow new therapies to be developed. And then some of the really major international companies have places here: AstraZeneca, GlaxoSmithKline, and most recently Amgen.
How important are these jobs to the people here in Montgomery County?
They're incredibly important, not just to Montgomery County, but the state. Not only do the people that we're talking about get to do things which may save people's lives or make them feel better, they really are fundamentally valuable jobs to our economy. In the state of Maryland, people who work in life sciences average about $140,000 a year in income, which is almost double the average of what people make generally in Maryland.
What makes these companies choose Montgomery County?
Talent. That's fundamentally one of the most important things we have here. We've got almost 40,000 people who work in the life sciences industry. They're incredibly talented and passionate about what they do. They do everything from research, working in science labs, to people who are manufacturing drugs that are going out to save people's lives or make them feel better, to even people who are working in warehouses, keeping all the materials together and shipping them out. So that's incredibly important. The other 2 things that exist here in Montgomery County that don't exist anywhere in the world are really the NIH. which is the world's largest researcher for human health, and additionally the Food and Drug Administration, which regulates all of the drugs sold in the U.S. So really nowhere else in the world do you see a duplication of those things.
So John, can you tell us what DECA Biosciences does?
Sure, Elaine. So DECA Bioscience is a small biotech startup that's focused on developing therapies, new therapies for cancer and inflammatory disease. So what we figured out is that we can combine natural products that are in our bodies together and target them into these different tissues. These natural products are called cytokines, and the combination of these cytokines and the targeting system, we call them diakines.
Bill mentioned the Montgomery County Incubator. How was your company selected to participate in that?
Yeah, so we've actually been here for about 5 years. As soon as we realized that we had to grow in order to really do the rest of what was needed to develop the molecule, we reached out to Ruth at MCEDC and asked her to evaluate what we're doing. Can we come into the Germantown incubator? And she and her team did a great job evaluating what we need to do. They brought us in, and then in the next 2 years, right, so 4 years total, we grew from just Pavel and I to about 30 people on site.
Can you discuss a little bit more about the funding process?
Kind of put the first monies in. We raised another about $2.5 million those first 2 years, and because we could establish the platform, that then really got the interest of venture capital.
How big is your lab?
So we're about 14,000 square feet. We've got 8 labs so far. The bacteria is actually being cultured and expanding. And so as those expand, they will grow the plasmid with it. And then once they get to a certain density, we can take the plasmid out. And then we go to what's called cell line development, where we actually start to build putting the plasmid into the cells to then produce the protein. Once we have the plasmid, we then transfect it, we stick it into cells, and this is literally our cell line development suite. This is a very specialized environment, as you can see from what our folks are wearing, and that instrument literally has the ability to understand which cell has the plasmid, the thing that makes our protein, and the amount of protein that cell is making. So we can literally make highly functional, high protein producing clones that we then use for manufacturing. This is another shaking incubator. The difference is that these are cells as opposed to bacterium. All right, so in this laboratory we take the material generated by the cells and then we use a purification system with a variety of columns in order to enrich our protein through a number of steps to purify it so that it's really ready for use. Once we have it purified, we then come to this part of our laboratory in order to analyze the protein through a variety of different instruments to make sure that it actually is what we think it should be.
To learn more about the incredible research and work DECA Biosciences does, visit decabiosciences.com. And be next in Montgomery County. Visit thinkmoco.com to learn more about starting, moving, or expanding a business in Montgomery County.